This is the only way. See, I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about the truth. And so I think other people should display passion also to let the people know that, look, I care about the well-being of people. You're not just a number. You're not just a face. These people out here are lunatics, and they're trying to stop the progression and rise of a greater world, a fairer, a more just world, a more equitable world. So I'm going to stay on my square, and I'm going to teach freedom, justice, and equality. Let me say that again. I'm going to stay on my square, and I'm going to teach freedom, justice, and equality till the casket drops. And the thing about it is, I have to go about teaching freedom, justice, and equality this way because other people, sometimes people don't get it the other way. So I want to give you a lot of examples. I want to intertwine it with geopolitics, with economics, with politics. And then I want to give you these examples so that it can connect to your heart and to your head, so that you can understand it. Because these people talk over your head. I used to listen all the time when I was coming up. I was like, these people are talking over most people's head. We got to make this information accessible to the average person. We've got to relay it in the average person's terms, because that's who we want to benefit. Because the so-called above average people are the ones who are exploiting us. So that's why I'm here, and I want to thank you for your appreciation with the super chat. I really appreciate that. Okay. Number 5. In January, pending home sales dropped to an all-time record low. Contracts to buy previously owned homes fell to a record low in January as prospective buyers were constrained by higher mortgage rates and housing prices. The National Association of Realtors, which I'm a member of, right, since 2004, 2003, something like that, 2002 or 3, something like that. Yeah, by trade, I'm a real estate agent. It said on Thursday that its pending home sales index, which is based on signed contracts, declined by 4.6% last month to 70.6, an all-time low. Economists polled by Reuters had forecast contracts which become, I think this is a misspelling. Or we'll just say it like that, which becomes sales after a month or two, falling by 1.3 in January. Pending home sales were down 5.2% from a year ago. So all of these economic barometers are showing us that something is up. And America knows that the elite knows this. So guess what they're doing? They're preparing for war. What did Gerald Celente say? When all else fails, they do what? They take us to war, right? When all else fails, they do what? They take us to war, right? So it says, number 6, it is being projected that the U.S. will run a record high agricultural trade deficit of $49 billion in 2025. And these tariffs are not helping, because China just sanctioned soybeans and other stuff, and it's going to hurt the farmers. And remember, when Trump offers aid to the farmers, and everybody needs farmers, but when Trump offers aid to the farmers, that's another tax on you. Did you know that? Because that he is printing money out of thin air. That's deficit spending. That's an added tax on the taxpayer. You know? So let's go a little further. The U.S., known for being a global agriculture powerhouse, has never imported so much food. Inbound shipments of everything from avocados to coffee and sugar are expected to drive the country's agricultural trade deficit to a record $49 billion this year, the U.S. Department of Agriculture said in its Trade Outlook report. At the same time, America's most widely grown crops have been losing overseas markets over the past decade. It's a stark turnaround for a nation that once used to used its abundant food supplies as a tool of statecraft, with the U.S. now facing a future of persistent agricultural trade deficits. That's something. That right there is more dire than the real estate collapse. Why? Because without food, you don't eat. And you used to be the global powerhouse. America was so rich in food was so abundant in America that she would take, this is no lie, go look this up, okay, to see if I'm embellishing or I'm lying to you all. America was so powerful and so self-sufficient in food that she would take food and fill cargo ships full of food, send them out to sea and sink them so that she can keep the price of food high. This is no lie. This is no lie at all. She had that much agriculture power that she would fill cargo ships with food, send them out to sea and sink them to artificially inflate the prices of food at home. That was a knock on her. And now she's importing everything. And guess what? Russia is one of the largest producers of food and exporters of food, right? And you sanction Russia and you waged a covert war with Russia. So if you go to war with China, and China has stood by Russia's side, exporting certain needed chips and all this other stuff to Russia, helping cover Russia economically, right? And politically, and stood toe-to-toe with Russia. You think Russia's going to turn its back on somebody that helped them through their toughest times? Do you believe that you'll still be able to import the amount of food and gas and oil that you do? Huh? And you're waging war against his partner, knowing that when the war is over, if you had your way, you're going to just double back around and wage war against them again. See, this is that catch-22 that America now finds herself in. So now listen, it says, let's get to these last few. It says, number 7, Coresight research is telling us that approximately 15,000 stores will be permanently closed in the United States in 2025. That would be an all-time record by a wide margin. So you want to initiate a tariffs war, a trade war with everybody because you're losing your competitiveness around the world. And other people are trading outside of the dollar. And you want to alienate more people to go outside of the dollar by sanctioning them to try to keep them inside the dollar. Tell me, for any sound person out there, does that make sense to you? And you're doing this at a time when you're suffering agriculturally, politically, and economically. Tell me, how does that make sense? Huh? How does it make sense? And if it doesn't make sense, how do you plan to put that together to make dollars? Huh? So it goes further and says, number 8, the price of gold has moved above $2,900 an ounce for the first time ever. Stop right there. To show you what I mean about hubris, about imperialism, and the death of the dollar, pound, and euro. Once London controlled all the strings of the silver and gold markets, the London Gold Exchange. Okay, now China has a Shanghai Gold Exchange, which rivals London's now. And do you know that unlike in London, where they lease it, and how they have paper gold contracts, the Chinese are more solidified in their holding and trading of gold. If you buy gold, you get gold. And so there has been an outpour of the gold that was left in the West to the East. You know that? There's been an outpour of the gold that was left in the West to the East. The East is now the largest holder of gold. And when I mean the East, I mean everybody outside of Europe and the United States. That's why you saw Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali kick France and the United States out. They wanted access and they wanted control over their own gold reserves because they have huge gold potential, huge ore potentials. In any economic crisis, this is a hedge against total uncertainty and collapse. So you see Africa reaching out, and then you see who was it? Right under the Biden administration threatened war with Mexico, when Mexico said that they were thinking about backing the peso with their huge store of silver. The U.S. threatened to go to war with Mexico. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Told you to walk away. That was my first and last mistake. I'm blue without your face. But what can I do? 'Cause I'm just a sinking ship, and you're just a pair of lips that I've lost